Welcome to Celebrity Interviews with Paul. I have with me Bishop Don Kreiss, Bishop of the Southeast Michigan Synod, and with the great honor and distinction of being the very first two-time appearer on Celebrity Interviews with Paul. Wow! Welcome, Bishop.
I am honored. I didn't know that, Paul. I know. So there.
No, you're the first. This is going to be almost as significant as multiple hostings of Saturday Night Live soon.
My mind went there immediately. So yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, this is of course the 214th day of our pandemic lockdown and life in quarantine and in whatever form that is. How is the pandemic treating you and yours?
Well, yeah. I mean, and let me just start by saying thank you for having me on the second time. Very, very flattered and thrilled. And if you had said this is the 2000th day of lockdown, I would not have fought you on that. It is at our house, we have simply lost track of days. Mm-hmm. And I have today and other day, and those are the only 2 days that I recognize. I am married to Kristen, who is an elementary vocal music teacher out of Northville, and she has worked really hard to get back into, what does it mean to be teaching face-to-face with kids? Kindergartners are not great at keeping masks on, but she has funny stories about what they do with their masks.
I'm sure.
And so far, everybody is healthy. We give thanks to God for that. But it's just hard to try to figure out doing some of the same things that teachers are doing that pastors are doing. How do you deal with folks in front of you? How do you deal with folks that are remote? How do you learn the technology and the protocols and staying safe that allow you to deal with all those things? So we're doing family Zooms on the weekend, both her family and my family. We're keeping in touch with the kids on the phone. There are very few number of friends that we feel that we can have, over outside for a cookout on the back patio. And even that's getting harder and harder as the weather gets colder. So
welcome to Michigan.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out, but this is not my favorite time of life right now. So.
Well, how's your role as bishop changed in all this?
Oh, that's a good question, Paul. It has been it's this weird sort of both and, which is actually very Lutheran. On the one hand, I am doing much more pastoral care with people. I am in touch with pastorally. With folks in the Synod, with pastors, with some parishioners, with folks that are important to my life and to my ministry in various capacities, and functioning in large ways because folks need a listening ear, functioning in large ways as a pastor in a very individualized one-on-one sort of situation. And this circumstance has then also led me to having sort of organized twice a month now meetings with the entire rostered leaders of the Synod to have, sort of impromptu and informal, to be sure, but Synod assemblies twice a month now to gather to talk about, here are issues that are facing us, here are things that we need to know about, here are specific skills or a presenter that can bring helpful information. So it's a really interesting mix that I'm trying to hold in tension, not leaning over too far in either direction, but trying to fulfill my my role, my task, my call, both ways.
It's interesting to think that in the midst of all this, in some ways, we're seeing we as a pastor in the Synod, we're having more direct contact with you in an indirect way than we normally do. And more opportunity for that. And I guess that's one of those things that as we move into whatever happens after this, whenever that may be, that's one of those things that we can claim as a win, I think.
I hope so, Paul. I hope so.
Opportunity discovered. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest challenges for congregations and pastors in Southeast Michigan?
I think one of the biggest challenges is to hang on. How do we live in the world as the body of Christ when we can no longer come together to be that body? There is such There is such power, there is such joy, there is such consolation, there is such consolation in gathering together and seeing folks that become, I mean, there's a reason we talk about our church family.
Right.
And to be, to have those people together on a weekly basis, to check in, to share joys and sorrows, and to comfort each other. That's an enormously important part of what the church does. And that's really been hard in this time.
Yeah.
There have been some creative solutions. I have been, encouraged by the ways that congregations have learned to reach out, by the adoption of technology of folks that ordinarily would not have had much to do with that.
Yep.
Of congregations where folks are deliberately learning to check in and to be in small groups and to do that. And it's still really hard to keep to keep energy going, to keep, God's the Holy Spirit binds us together, and it's hard to remember that each of us has access to that grace and that gift when we're not with each other to remind each other of that.
Yep. There is something about just being in physical proximity, even if you don't talk to people. That makes a difference. And I think too, I find that those random informal conversations that then lead you into things don't happen in the same way. So everything has to be more intentional, and that's partly on my end, but it also places even more responsibility on the laity, or on those needing care, right? So I can't sit around and trust that you're going to randomly call me as much as if I need assistance to reach out.
Absolutely. And those unplanned, unintentional interactions that we have each other, I think part of what they do is help keep a congregation on the rails. That is, they sort of help keep us together. Oh, we're going in this direction, and we're going on this day. And it's hard when you don't have that chance just to have a cup of coffee together in the narthex, to use a very churchy word, and to check in and to see, and Facebook and email and putting out sort of a large number. Being able to communicate to a large number of people simultaneously is not always a helpful thing.
Yeah,
we sometimes react, and instead of having that reaction with one person who can say, whoa, let's come down, let's talk about it. We'll go have coffee and we'll sort it out.
Yeah.
You did
the megaphone effect.
Press send, and all of a sudden your issue is now the issue being dealt with by 28 other people who are
reply all is not always helpful either.
So
exactly. What surprised you in all this?
I have been surprised by a couple of things. One, and I don't want to lose sight of this, that we have, against our will mostly, but we have adapted to the needs of technology. It hasn't worked uniformly, and not everybody has internet access. I absolutely get that, even in the small geography of Southeast Michigan. But if you had told me a year ago that 90 of our congregations would be figuring out how to do remote worship in some kind of way, I would have said, go on,
Good luck with that.
That just is not going to happen.
Right.
That's one piece. I've also been, I'm really struggling in a good way to sort of understand, what does this mean, that good Lutheran question, for us as we go forward. I think that as helpful as this remote connection can be, our stamina for it, our tolerance for it, our ability to sit through it simply is not what it is in person. And so the congregations that I have visited virtually, the places that I've been, folks are having to make some editorial choices about what is the central beating heart of being church together.
Right.
And always that's a word proclaimed, always that is a prayer. But beyond that, Paul,
Mm-hmm.
that's, I mean, music sometimes, we do virtual communion sometimes, we do sort of, small groups sometimes, but
Right.
it is scripture, the spoken word, and praying together. And I think that piece is going to give us clarity moving forward about what must be essential
Right.
as we gather again.
Well, I've tried to repeat this multiple times. I think that there are three things that we're learning in our wilderness journey through this pandemic. And I like that metaphor of a journey through the wilderness and learning. I think we're clearly learning we're all in this together.
Yes.
Because everybody's behavior impacts everybody else's, right? And impacts everybody else's safety. And the other thing I said is it's gonna take longer than any of us wanted to. The idea, back in March, the idea was this is a few weeks and then we're, back to where we were. Well, yeah, good luck with that. Here we are, it's October. And the other thing I said is that God is creating opportunities for us, even in the midst of all this stuff. So what opportunities do you see God creating in our midst right now?
A couple of things that I have been grateful for, because congregations are not really at this point limited to geography. That is, you can connect with people all over the country, and I know lots of our congregations are. I mean, we
have a Wednesday Bible study with the Emmanuel Lutheran in Southfield.
Right. They're engaging, but folks, are engaging with members that have moved away, with children. It is a delight right now to be able to worship with, when Chris and I are on, to worship with our daughter Kate, who's in Wisconsin. But there she is in the box, 2 over and 1 down from us, and and that's delightful. I'm also grateful for the places where folks are figuring, okay, we can have different kinds of partnerships. So congregations that are not close geographically are doing ministry together. I'm thinking about confirmation and some education formation kind of ministries. Are doing that in partnership because it's all on video or, all remote. You can never ask, it's not fair to ask folks, drive an hour and a half for confirmation. But since we're doing this, folks are able to leverage friendship, to leverage interest, to leverage a number of kids even, and to do successful faith formation in partnerships that would never have happened pre-COVID. So, awesome. So those are some pluses that I'm aware of now.
Where do you find joy?
I do find joy in the family Zooms. I mean, the connections. It is, we had both of our families Zoomed on Sunday afternoon, and it was, and big families and all of the, we are people, and everyone puts out personalities on parade, but it was still a fun thing to be together for no other occasion than we can. And we have the technology that allows us to do that. I have been refreshed by the opportunity to engage differently. This has forced me to get out of, I mean, it's not like I've been bishop forever and ever, but you develop certain patterns, you develop certain sort of routines or rituals. And
it's been almost 10 years.
Well, it's coming on, it would have been, 11. So it's getting there. It's 9, I think. But to be able to make choices about what is it that I'm going to do today, because the usual round of meetings just don't happen anymore. And if they do, they can, I can do them from where shall I have that meeting? Oh, okay, that's good. So I mean, and to figure out, I mean, to spend some time trying to do faithful reflection. Again, what does this mean for us? If this goes on another 6 months, what will be the lasting impact on the way we are church together? or will the, the body sort of reform itself into that old shape? I hope not. I mean, there are some things that I absolutely would be desperate to lose, but there are some other pieces that I'd be like, that's okay. We're still the church.
What do you want to lose, Bishop?
Well, oh dear. I actually kind of like not having to worry about, I like not having to worry about, okay, now I have to look professional on both my top and my bottom half. I wore, dress shoes about 4 times until the weather got cold, and that was okay.
I was in a meeting with 3 other congregations. I was as a dean in a meeting with 2 other congregations and the assistant to the bishop and the director of evangelical mission. And my wife took a picture of me at our dining room table. And from the video, I was wearing a cleric and looked very pastoral. I was wearing shorts and I didn't have any shoes on.
Well, yes. I've heard that described as the COVID mullet. It's business on top, party below the screen. So yeah.
I did that this summer filming too. I got a couple of back scenes pictures that I posted to the church Facebook page of me behind the pulpit with a cleric and a sport coat on and shorts and flip flops.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think we have a couple of those at my house too for some of the early.
We got to embrace what we can.
Yes, and that's craziness. That's okay. Yeah.
Well, I do have one last thing to leave you with, Bishop.
Sure.
Of course, I would be remiss. Here, let me look over. I would be remiss if I didn't have some kind of gift for you. And it comes, of course, all gifts come with strings attached.
Yeah.
So this will be for you. This is like the collector's edition.
That is
high quality Mighty Gobbler swag.
That is posh.
I know that oftentimes family commitments around Thanksgiving have prevented you from participating in the race in Troy, Michigan. But this year, Bishop, the Mighty Gobbler has gone virtual.
Okay.
Or course or hours. Wherever you are, you can run the Mighty Gobbler and get your limited edition, collector's edition Mighty Gobbler t-shirt, and everyone who enters has an opportunity to win a pair of diamond earrings courtesy of MJ Diamonds.
Okay.
Along with other cool prizes. So we just know you're going to go to mightygobbler.com and register you and your family for the race after this. And after you do, this too shall be yours.
That is an offer too good to pass up, and I am very excited and proudly wear a lot of my Mighty Gobbler swag when I do my little workout at home. So yeah.
Good.
I'm excited about it.
It wouldn't be a conversation with me without a plug for something.
So true. I would know that was you. It was a hostage situation if you didn't let me know that was. Yes.
That's going to be my clue for everybody if I'm ever abducted. That I don't plug something.
That's it exactly. Then we'll know Paul's in trouble. He didn't plug the Mighty Gobbler.
He really needs that gift card.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, blessings to you, Bishop. Thank you for being our first 2-time appearer on Celebrity Interviews with Paul. Have a blessed day and a blessed journey through our wilderness.
All right. Thanks so much, Pastor. Blessings to you and blessings to the folks at Church of the Master.
Church of the Master.
I know. I had to sort of, yes.
I know. We'll get there. We'll work it together.
It's other day.